In the beginning of 2015, I felt that God was blessing me with some really great things. But at the same time, I also felt very, very scared of people finding out some of the decisions and choices that I had made in the past with men. I felt a lot of shame and guilt. I felt that if my daughter had found out, that she would lose complete respect for me and possibly end up making some of the same bad choices as well. I felt that if my boyfriend found out, he would never want to be with me because he is an amazing man, and I really couldn't understand why such a great guy would want to be with such a horrible person like me. At some point in 2015, True Life Church was showing testimonial videos, and there was a young girl that shared her story of some bad choices that she had made regarding with guys sexually. She was so brave to open up and share so many personal things that it really did have a huge impact on me. After service that day, I had really broken down with my friend April at church. And then after that, I went home and had just opened up and shared all of the things, the very few things that I hadn't shared with my boyfriend, but the things that I hadn't shared were, to me, things that would definitely cause him not to want to be with me. But I was able to share them, and he just looked at me and reminded me that I was forgiven, and he just hugged me, and he didn't react how I thought he was going to react at all, and that was amazing. But I still, even though it was wonderful, I still didn't feel like I was good enough for him, and I couldn't understand how that was his reaction. I was also able to open up and share everything about my past with my daughter Vinay, and that was probably the hardest thing to do. But I truly feel that she has more respect for me now than she ever has. Our relationship has gotten so much better. We're getting so much closer. God also opened up the door for me to co-lead a girls group, a high school and college age girls group on sexual purity. He opened that door around the time when I was going through everything, so I knew absolutely it was God doing it. I was able to share with a lot of the girls about my past, and where it's brought me, and how it's just amazing how God can bring you from such a horrible place, and he can use your past and your past sin and mistakes and use it for his good. God's grace is just, it's just amazing. I mean, his forgiveness, he has forgiveness, and all of the shame and guilt that I had felt, I'm not going to say it's totally gone, but it's at least gone to the point where I'm able to share and allow God to use my past for his purposes for my life.
After my divorce, our lives were shattered into a million different pieces. My finances were in shambles. I found myself unemployed for the first time in my life. And my children were really struggling with getting through each day. My son Joseph had a particularly hard time. coping with his emotions. This came out in negative behaviors, such as breaking a car window, suicide threats. He would hurt himself, and he ended up being hospitalized 12 different times. Noah and I were just reacting to every day, and just getting in the car to go anywhere was very difficult for us.
Lots of stress, lots of anger. Me and my brother weren't getting along as well as we were now.
I did everything in my power to make things better for my children and for myself, but things were just not working right for us. I reached out to my pastor, my life group. I went for Christian counseling. Understanding my story through God's eyes and from my Christian brothers and sisters was so helpful to me. I have to say, Rigo really listened. Everybody at my life group really listened and helped me put into perspective what we were dealing with and why I couldn't fix it. And in 2014, I made the hardest decision any parent ever has to make. I decided that Joseph needed residential treatment. While Joseph was away, Noah and I had time to rebuild our relationship, and it was because we knew Joseph was safe and we were safe. Over the course of Joseph's treatment, he found new motivation.
At first, I didn't really want to change. I just wanted to go home. But eventually, it did make me feel a lot happier, and I actually wanted to change. I think it was just getting away from home that made me feel changing.
Joseph completed his treatment program in July of 2015, and he came home, and he has returned to the normal public school where he's in 8th grade, and he is doing excellent at school. And every day I look at this child, I see him smile, I see him take responsibility, go to school, and I am so proud of him. We could not have gotten to this place of peace without Jesus Christ. I'm very thankful that we allowed God in. Through this whole process, I really learned that I have to allow God in to do his work. And I am not the one who is going to solve all the problems in this world. And the problems are going to be solved by God and with prayer and by allowing God to do his work.
At the end of 2014, I started thinking about what I could do for a New Year's resolution. And we all do this. We're going to quit smoking. We're going to go to the gym. We're going to go on a diet. And then by February, it's history. I was feeling anxiety. I had a son in addiction. I guess as a single parent, I wanted to control and fix and do. And I thought I could do it better than anybody. I guess from previous churches, I thought God was someone to be terrified of. He was somebody who was mad at you if you missed church, if you used birth control, if you got divorced. He wasn't a loving, caring God. And I kind of feel like I was living my life thinking, I'm not that good of a person. I'm kind of ashamed of myself. And whenever something bad happened, you would think you deserved it kind of attitude. And the moment when I had this clarification was I was in a self-help group for women with addict children, and the woman said to me, You're in a battle with God. You're having a tug of war, and your son is the rope. Let go. But I had to find the faith first to be able to let go. And I found that by coming to True Life and listening to the Word of God. And I realized that I had to let Him do the work. And True Life has shown a loving, compassionate, forgiving God. And the life groups are like the arms of God. It outstretches. So you thought you joined a church, but you joined a family. And I'm not going to have a New Year's resolution this year because last year's is the gift that keeps on giving.
So what God did for me in 2015 started at the end of 2014. I guess kind of out of nowhere, I was fearful and I was overcome with anxiety. And somewhere in the back of my mind, the word cancer was on like a loop that just kept going through my head. And I was so afraid that I was going to die, that something was wrong with me. And I went to the doctor and told him what I thought, and we did a whole bunch of tests and blood work. And a couple weeks later, the results came back, and no, I did not have cancer, but there were probably about 7 or 8 different things that were wrong with me that all contributed greatly to depression. I had been down this road before, and I disagreed with it. I didn't want to have depression again. So he gave me a list of supplements, and I was on my way. Maybe they worked, maybe they didn't. I mean, in hindsight, I can say that they didn't work, but I had these medicines. I was supposed to feel better, and so I should be feeling better. And maybe I was for a little bit, but then it really stopped, and I really wasn't feeling better at all. If anything, my anxiety was getting worse. I felt like I couldn't breathe most of the time. When my kids would say "mommy," inside it was like I was screaming. And being a mom of 4 kids is a big responsibility, and going to the beach and the pool, and it's constant. And I kept going through all the motions, but inside I was just a wreck. I was afraid that my kids were going to die, that my husband was going to get into a car accident, that my kids would get hurt, that I was going to lose somebody. And, you know, I try to maintain a semblance of control all the time. You can kind of ask anybody. I may or may not be very controlling. And, you know, when God needs to get my attention, He needs to do it in a big, bold way, because I'm so busy trying to be the boss that I don't really look to Him a lot to be my boss. So the first thing that happened was in July, I was in a car accident and with my son in the car, and my car was totaled, and we survived without a scratch on us. 2 weeks later, or not even 2 weeks, a week later, we went on vacation, and we were in Ocean City, Maryland. And the second day we were there, my 4-year-old ran away on the beach, and I could not find her for 10 minutes. And when I did find her, she was a half a mile away. 2 days later, the next day, my 8-year-old was almost hit by a car while we were crossing the street. And I started screaming. The people on the corner waiting to cross, they were screaming. And I was just screaming Jesus. And I know that He's the one who saved her that moment. She missed that car by inches, or that car missed her. 2 days later, still on vacation, my 4-year-old slammed her thumb in the sliding glass door and had to go to the emergency room, where she had to get it drained, and they did x-rays, and she chipped the tip of her bone off. This was all on vacation and in just a few short days. So we come home and try to get back in the routine of things, and we weren't even home a week, and my 4-year-old split her head open on her windowsill. And it was at night, late at night, and I had to bring her to the emergency room. And as I'm looking at this big gash, like her head is split open, I completely split open inside, and I finally surrendered. Lord, I can't do a single thing on my own. All the things that I should be doing, I'm not doing. I can't do them. And I certainly can't do them without Him. And I guess this whole time, I felt like I needed to maintain control instead of allowing Him to really be, the captain of my ship. I want to be in charge of everything. And He was the one who needs to be in charge. He always needs to be in charge. So what He did for me was He freed me from anxiety and depression. He freed me from feeling like I'm supposed to fit this mold of what the perfect wife and mother looks like. And with joy, I can say I am so thrilled to see what he has in store for me next. I was even in another car accident in September, and I didn't even care. And all my kids were in the car.